still finding the greatest common factor. As I look at this, I see the x plus 1, I see the y squared plus 1, and I see the y squared plus 1. And I see that it is exactly the same here as here. So I am going to pull that out to the front. So I have my parentheses, y squared plus 1. And what I've factored that out from goes into another set of parentheses, x minus 3. So that's the x here minus the 3 here. So the greatest common factor itself is the y plus 1, but factoring it out leaves me the x minus 3, which we are going to include. Looking over at that problem, first thing I'm going to look at is the stuff in the parentheses. B cubed minus 5 compared to B cubed minus 5. They are the same thing. So I am going to factor them out. And I have the b to the third minus 5. And what am I left with? I have my q, and I have my plus something. That's going to go in its own set of parentheses, q plus. What number can I multiply in here that doesn't change anything? 1. I can multiply a 1 in there, doesn't change it. So I have q plus 1. Looking down at this one, we want to learn to factor a negative out also, because sometimes that's going to work better. So I see a negative here, and I see a minus sign there. So I'm going to take that out to the front. So that's giving me negative, open parentheses, 7y plus 21. Not done yet, because I still can factor something out of my numbers. But just taking that negative out, all that did was change this from a negative here to a plus. Negative minus to a plus. Now I need to factor out the number part. I see the 7 as a prime number. It goes into the 21, so I can factor that out also. So I have negative 7, open parentheses, y plus 21 divided by 7 is 3. And that is my factored form. The greatest common factor itself is negative 7. Going over to our last problem on this screen, we want to start by factoring out a negative. So I'm going to change all of my signs here. And I'm going to do a little shortcut. Rather than rewriting the whole thing, I'm going to put my negative out front, and I'm going to make everything inside the opposite sign. Now I'm going to look at my number parts. 5, 10, 5. I can factor out a 5. So I have my negative from here, carried down. I'm factoring out a 5. Looking at my letters, I have an M, and M. So I have M's there. I can factor at least one M out of this. I look for my smallest exponent, 6, 5. So far 5 is winning. 5 and 3. 3 is the winner. Now I open my parentheses and I divide. 5 divide 5 gives me 1. M to the 6 minus 3. Use our rules for exponents here. So I have 6 minus 3 gives me 3. So this is m to the 3. Plus negative. So since I have a plus and negative, I'm going to write that as a minus sign. 10 divided by 5 is 2. I have an m, and the number up here is more than 3, so I'm going to have an m there. I take my subtraction here. I'm subtracting 3 from that. I get 2 left over. So my exponent here is 2. Now I have a plus sign. Remember, I already took care of that negative before. I have 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. I have m to the third divided by m to the third. So I'm subtracting the 3 from there with my exponent rules. That's giving me 0. So m to the 0 equals 1. So I have 1 times 1. So I need to write down that 1 there. And that is my factored form. The greatest common factor itself is negative 5 to the third. So that right there is my greatest common factor. This whole thing here is my factored form.